Well, it's a very exciting time for Volvo and fans of Volvo because this car is finally here. It's the XC40 compact utility vehicle, but this is the Recharge, which means it's Volvo's very first full electric vehicle. And it's an SUV in the hottest selling category in the marketplace. So let's get in and I'll tell you all about it. Now, from 10 paces away, you'd be forgiven for not knowing that this is a full electric SUV from Volvo. And that's a good thing because the XC40, the regular model that you buy at Volvo at Vancouver, is just a fantastic product to drive. It's so functional, so well thought out, does everything perfectly well, and now you take that goodness and electrify it. The way to spot it on the outside is where the grille is on the regular XC40. On this Recharge, you don't have that grille. It's kind of filled in. That's one way to spot it. And of course, the P8 badge on the back. But really, other than that, that's the only tell. Same on the inside. All of the functionality is here. So when you open up the cargo area at the back, you don't lose anything at all in terms of space to make room for the battery. When you lift up the floor of the cargo area, that is where the charging cable is stored and it keeps it out of the way. When you drive this XC40 Recharge, there are just a couple of slight differences. The first thing is when you get in, there's no button or key or knob to turn to start the vehicle up. It knows you're here because of the key fob, and all you do is you put the car either into reverse or into drive, and away you go. That's it. And when you park, you hit park, you get out of the car, and the car switches off. It's all done for you. At first glance, the infotainment head unit in the middle looks like the existing Volvo system, but it's behind the scenes that it is entirely new. This is the first car in the world to be running on the Android car operating system. Now, if you have a new smart TV at home and you've interacted trying to get onto Netflix or Amazon or what have you, those systems for the most part are all running on Android, and that's what's happening with this product. It's a new, much faster system in behind the head unit that allows you to go from item to item inside the infotainment screen very, very quickly. You also have the ability to use Google commands, and you would say, "Hey Google, where is the closest gas station?" All right, we don't need a gas station because this is fully electric. I don't know why, it's like an old habit. You know, you want to ask for something that you would think of in a car, and a gas station is one of them. Not the case. Okay, so there you go. Isn't that nice to be able to use that system in the car? And the screen is much, much quicker. So those are the kinds of changes that you can notice or maybe are quite subtle. It's when you put your foot into the throttle of this XC40 Recharge, that's when you notice there's a whole lot at play, and it's a lot of electricity and power. This XC40 Recharge has 402 horsepower, 485 pound-feet of torque, a 78 kilowatt-hour battery, and has 335 kilometers of electric range, plus it comes standard with all-wheel drive. So that instantaneous torque that you feel is nothing short of sports car-like. This vehicle will make a run to 100 kilometers an hour in under 5 seconds. That really is quite amazing. Now, those are all the stats, and those are the key changes. But what I'm going to try to convey to you is how it feels. And what I can tell you is I've driven many, many electric vehicles. They all have common traits. Low center of gravity, the battery's at the bottom. They're fairly quiet and smooth, and they have quick acceleration. That's a common trait for most electric vehicles. But what Volvo has been able to achieve with this XC40 Recharge is nothing short of amazing. The level of refinement and quality feeling back to the driver is one of the best I've ever driven. It has a really solid, well-made feel. It doesn't feel that heavy, even though it's got a big battery. It's got plenty of power, but it's very quiet. Now, there are some other electric cars that just rely on the fact that there's no gasoline engine to keep it quiet, but you have to also take out all the road and wind noise, and Volvo does that incredibly well with this product. There are settings when you go into the new head unit, as I mentioned. You can change the weight of the steering from light to heavy. When you put it in the heavy setting, it makes this vehicle feel really solid on the road. It's got a nice weight to it. In addition, you can do what's called one pedal driving. When you lift off the throttle, or the accelerator in this case, the brake automatically applies. And when you modulate that throttle, you can modulate how much brake is being sent through regenerative braking. And the reason this is done is every time you're off the throttle or the accelerator, you want to be taking that forward momentum of the vehicle and turning it back into electricity through regenerative braking. And you can do that consistently every single time you lift off the throttle. Now, if you've never owned an electric vehicle before and you're really considering buying this XC40, you need to have access to a level 2 charger. You can use a regular wall outlet, but that's really not the best way to own a vehicle like this. A level 2 charger is the way to go. That's where you plug it in overnight or plug it all day at work. And if you went from 0, and nobody ever runs the battery down to 0, up to 100% on that level 2 charger at home, it would take 8 to 10 hours, which means every single morning when you get up and you jump in the XC40 and you head out on the road, you have what is the equivalent of a full tank of gas. You have a full battery with 335 kilometers of range, and that's a nice feeling that you never have to search for a gas station. You could if you wanted to, but you won't. So this Volvo XC40 Recharge is very simply priced. It starts at just under $65,000. You can get the climate package to add the heated steering wheel, heated rear seats, and the heated windshield washers, and that's $1,000. You could add on things like the Harman Kardon stereo, maybe you want 20-inch wheels, and just a few other options, but it really is quite simple. So this vehicle has a lot of power, a lot of torque, and it really is a beautifully done first effort from Volvo. If you want to book a test drive, and I strongly urge you to try it out, get in touch with Volvo of Vancouver.